Hello everyone, this experiment is regarding multi-area OSPF and using IPv6 addressing. Multi-area OSPF is nothing but the area gets changed, unlike single area OSPF where we have only one area, that is area 0. Here in this scenario we can see we have area 1, 0 and area 2. So initially I have assigned all the IP addresses to the PCs, and that would be I have assigned the IP addresses to the PC. You can see here the PC has given an IP address, and that is 2001:1:B1:2/64, and we know how to assign the IP address to a PC. That would be go to the PC desktop IP configuration, and here we assign the IP address as well as the subnet mask, and usually the subnet mask given is /64. And anything which starts with FE80::/64 kind of thing is a linked local address. IPv6 gateway is the gateway address of GIG 0/0. That is the IP address of GIG 0/0 in this case. So what I do is I have assigned all the PCs with IP addresses according to the network address that is given, and for the router also I have assigned the IP address, and I will go to the CLI mode, enable conf t. Sorry. I'll give enable and then conf t, and it is IPv6 unicast -routing. After this I can give the IP address, and then the IP address will be similarly as we know we need to give IPv6 unicast routing for any IPv6 address to be given, and after this we press enter, and then IPv6 address, and then the address that is given to us, like for router 3 it is I'll go to the interface first. Suppose it is interface GIG 0/0, and then the IP address, and I've already assigned the IP address, so the IP address can be assigned as IPv6 address, and then 2001:DB8, it's 1, and then A1, then double colon, suppose 1/64, and then you press enter, then the IPv6 address will be set. And in the similar manner I have assigned the IP address to all the interfaces of all the routers, and when you go to the router and see the interfaces, you can see in this case the IPv6 address is set for GIG 0/0, 0/1, and serial interface 0/1/0. And similarly all the routers have given the IP addresses. Here also the routers have been assigned IP addresses, and then what we do is we need to configure the multi-area OSPF. So I go to the router 3, and then we give IPv6 unicast -routing, and this is the command which is to be given for any IPv6 address to be configured. And this is, as we are going to use multi-area OSPF, so we are going to use the OSPF concept. IPv6 unicast routing. Then each router is supposed to have an ID, that is for it to be identified in the network. So for router 3, let me give, as this is my router 1, I have given the numbers as router 3, 4, 5. So I'll give the router -ID, and then let it be 1.1.1.1. I've already assigned it, and when I'll show you the commands, like to see the IPv6 configuration, you can see the ID also. So router ID is given, and then what you do is you need to give the router ospf1. Router ospf1 defines that this router is configured with ospf1, and then this number 1 can go from 1 to 65535, but here I'm taking router ospf1, and this will be common for all the routers. Then you press enter, and what you do next is you give IPv6 router ospf1. Sorry, you need to give IPv6 router ospf1. As we have given router ospf1 for IPv4, for here we give IPv6 router ospf and then 1, and then you press enter. Then now what you need to go do is you need to get into the specific interface. Suppose let this be the interface GIG 0/1, and for this 0/1 I'll go enter, and when I 0/1, and then I get into the interface mode, and now I do is IPv6 ospf1 area, and then it comes area 1. GIG 0/0, as we can see, is in area 0. So here it will be, sorry, area 1. So here it will be area 1. So in this manner, then I'll press enter. But here I've already configured, so I'm not going to press enter. In the similar manner, I'll do for interface GIG 0/0 also, and when I do for interface serial 0/1/0, I'll go to enter, and then IPv6 ospf1 area 0. So this will be area 0. Why? Because this interface lies in area 0. Similarly, for this interface it lies in area 1, and this interface lies in area 1. And when you configure for router 4, this will be this interface serial 0/1/0 lies in area 0. Serial 0/1/1 lies in area 0, and for GIG 0/0 it again lies in area 0. So this is again area 0, but I didn't have any space for this to cover, so I made the switches in the PC here. And for this also it is a similar manner. It's area 2, and this is area 0. So for when all the PCs and the switches and the routers are configured with the multi-area OSPF, we try to ping the PC from one PC to the other. That is, from PC1 to PC issue 2, it should show a successful status. And from PC1 to PC4 it shows in successful status. That this obviously defines that all the PCs in all the areas are able to communicate with each other. So this shows the successful status. Now we can check the IPv6 OSPF database. That is, this would help us to know what exactly is configured in my routers. So show IPv6 OSPF database. This show IPv6. See, for this router 1, it shows the router ID. I told you this router ID, where we can see it's 1.1.1.1, and then it shows the adjacent networks which have been configured in this router using multi-area OSPF. This is 2001 DB8 1AB64. That is this network. Yeah, this is getting hanged. 1 second. Okay, that is this network, and for DB8 1B1 is this network, and then this network is again configured. 1BC is configured here, and 1C2 is again here, and 1C1 is here. So this means that this router has learned all the networks using multi-area OSPF. Similarly, when you go here and you go to CLI mode, you do enable show IPv6 OSPF database. You can see the database history. The router ID is 2.2.2.2, and this tells because the router ID is 2.2.2, and it has learned the routes from 3.3.3 and then 1.1.1. So the actual router ID is 2.2.2, and it shows GIG 0/0, serial 0/1/0, and serial 0/1/1. It has learned like these three ports are from 2.2.2, and 3.3.3 has a port of 0/1/0. This number and again this route. So as we know that using the IPv6 address and multi-area OSPF concept, we can allow two PCs to communicate with each other, and this would reduce the traffic in a single area and increase like the communication using the bandwidth. Thank you.